My name's Rich. I use the he, him pronouns. You're watching my YouTube channel where I play amazing tabletop role-playing games with friends. This is part of an ongoing anthology series I call Star Wars Saturdays, where every Saturday morning, pretty much, not like 100%, but a lot of Saturdays since the end of 2017, I will post up a new game every month. And folks from the Gauntlet online gaming community will RSVP. So we have a mix of lots of awesome players who will come in, and for either half the month, like this month here in June 2020, I'll have 2 games, but often I'll have 4 or 5. And we create characters or revisit characters from previous other RPG systems, because I'm always switching up the system because it's fun to see different lenses and different aspects of the Star Wars setting. Gather together, create these characters, and tell a story. This is set, if you're thinking like Star Wars, there's like thousands of years. This is set after Return of the Jedi movie, probably technically before Mandalorian, because I've read that it's like 5 years after. So somewhere in that space where the Empire has reached its zenith and is falling. Palpatine is dead. He fell down a hole, guys. In Star Wars, that means you're gone forever, right? Right? Anyway, Palpatine's gone. The Empire is crumbling. And this game I'm using a concept from Callisti Press called Void Vultures was the game they created. Very cool. It's an idea of scavengers who go into space hulks and steal space stuff. It's like a little dungeon rompy in space. That's Void Vultures. I found the dice system not to be to my taste. It's fun. It's very gamey, but I really wanted to try it with a different system. So I'm using Rovers, which is by Kat Raman of Aviatrix Games, free to download. Go check it out on her website. Rovers is a World of Dungeons turbo hack for space, kind of sci-fi. In fact, it's really clever. In 7 pages, you can create worlds and the empire that you're fighting against and starships and your characters. We're narrowing it down a little bit right now just to do the characters. And World of Dungeons Turbo Rovers is a Powered by the Apocalypse game. This very simplified in that you're rolling 2d6 against 3 stats, and you add one of those 3 stats, and then you're looking at a longer range of 6 or less is a miss, 7 to 9 is a partial success, 10 or 11 is a full success, and 12 or more is a critical success. That's the core mechanic for Rovers and the whole World of Dungeons generally. So that's all of the like setup. The last thing that I'll talk about before we jump straight in is to remind everyone we do have safety tools. We have lines and veils. We have lines, which means this is content we're not going to have in our story. Lines are sexual assault and sexual violence and harm to children. We have veils, which means we're okay if this happens, but we don't want to shine a light on it. We will fade to black or do a Lucas style screen wipe, and the veils are on sexual content and harm to animals. Then there are a few that are ask first, and that's where we've indicated, hey, if we want to introduce this content, let's like warn everybody and make sure, check in before we do that. And I say we because as the facilitator GM of this, I'm going to be asking occasionally some open questions where other people may tell us collaboratively part of the world or their part of their world. The ask first options are torture, slavery, and racism or speciesism. I really appreciate saying speciesism because like the whole idea of thinking of Togruta as a race or as Twi'leks as a race is weird to me, but I know it comes from our like D&D heritage that we think that way, but I've never liked it. So I appreciate racism, speciesism in there. So with all of those in, yeah, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to jump straight into it, and we'll introduce characters as they come on screen, as it were. So the brief little, we're not doing a whole scroll, like we're going all solo style, like just a little bit of info. The Void Rovers team has been notified, or they are quick on the hunt for a Starliner that was found outside of Kesh. Kesh is a planet in the Outer Rim. The Kesh notified Spaceport Trident Vespa, where a number of other Void Rover teams live, and it is not far away. You guys hopped into your space sandcrawler, your space crawler, I guess maybe is what we should call it, which is yeah, we'll get into that. And if you check now into the character keeper, you will see that I've unhidden a Lentalan GX class executive transport known as the Ambassador to the Stars. This ship was found in orbit. It had come out of an asteroid field in the Kesh system and is currently in orbit around one of Kesh's moons. And so they've notified you guys about this derelict spaceship. You guys are you're on it, whether you're authorized or not. And so when you approach this, what is that? We see our pilot is in the space crawler. And so I'm a little curious, what is it that we see him doing as you approach the Ambassador to the Stars passenger, executive class kind of passenger liner?
Yeah, so Ukork is at the helm of this space crawler. I imagine that some of Krent's tribe are on the bridge as well, and he's probably gesturing to them because I think there's a bit of a language barrier sometimes between Ukork and the Jawas. But he's like gesturing at some of the controls, and he reaches up and flips a switch Millennium Falcon style, and the engines sort of shutter off and we're floating just as like another derelict to try and avoid being seen by any, New Republic sensors.
Nice, that's right, because the New Republic it frowns upon most scavengers, unlicensed scavengers. The Ambassador is as I said, an executive class liner. The thrusters are operating at minimum capacity, but it is stuck in a geosynchronous orbit over this moon. It is not authorized. It is not responding to any communications. Your scans and science seem to indicate that it has power. You see lights on. It's in a running. It's the mode that it's in is that there's power, but it's the thrusters are at minimum sublight. And it's just enough to kind of hold orbit and continue moving. It appears from the outside, as we will see the captain of our ship. I think one of the Jawa will be saying something. We actually see a little bit of subtitles, like one of the few times that we will, as we get a little bit of exposition from them. It says, running lights are working, Captain. It appears in excellent shape. We're not sure what took her down. No indications. There are indications of biological life on board, but we don't. The life signs look weird.
And Ukork replies that, we can't trust the sensors on this ship at all. They're always broken. Don't you remember the last ship that you said was full of what are the ones with all the tentacles?
Yes, I know exactly what you are saying.
Yeah, it was full of those, and there wasn't a single thing on that ship. Fire the tow cables. Raptor. That's the
Thank
one.
you. You're awesome.
Yes, you said the last ship was full of Raptors, and we didn't see anything. So fire the tow cables. Let's bring her in.
Cool. So you fire the tow cables with your engines off. It effectively would like pull you slowly and kind of reel in. The executive liner itself probably has a lot of loot on board, but towing it back to Spaceport Trident Vespa would be problematic. Getting it past New Republic sensors would be nigh impossible. So it's best that you try to board and scuttle the ship. Interestingly enough, while Ukork responded to the Jawa, when it said captain was, of course, speaking to Rent. So what it just kind of shakes its head when Ukork responds and admonishes them about the Rathtar. So what do we see of Rent as the ship is coming up and you guys are about to, like, imagine the space crawler? Do you imagine that it comes up beside to an airlock, or that it like goes belly to belly? What are you thinking there?
So do you think we actually have a map, like what we see in the character keeper?
I think so.
Yeah. So
I think you guys got that
Yeah.
from someone at Spaceport Trident Vespa. They
Nice.
paid a few creds.
So I think basically Rent, whenever he comes on screen, Rent basically is a Jawa, and the reason he's the leader of this tribe of Jawas is because he has the vocoder that'll translate Jawa'ese into common. There's a list of the other Jawas' names down at the bottom of the character keeper if you want them.
Oh, sweet.
I think Thog is like the guy who just spoke. He's like the second in command. And all of that was translated on the ship's computer, right? So that's how we saw the sub captions. Is it zoomed in and you could see it come across on the computer?
Nice.
But so I think that Rent, hits a couple of buttons and on the screen pops up this map that we have. And whenever he reaches out with his right hand, because he is broken, it's actually gone. And he has like this tool attachment thing. So you see like part of a welding jacket thing, and he kind of taps with it. And there's executive crew or executive suite. And I think we're going to come up alongside it. And you will see like the little tunnel thing pop over to like a little port area that's over on that side.
Nice. I love it. So I love that broken. The idea for how you're broken is just like blows my mind. It's so cool. So you guys belly up and you're now headed into the executive section, or you're like affixing the airlock. And I imagine that a couple of Jawa run over and they hook it up, and Vaba, she says, "I'll get it up," and then you hear a shunk as the space crawler hooks everything through, and you've got this little, like umbilical kind of passageway that it's all rust colored and everything. And then the liner itself is this beautiful gunmetal gray. And so you can see that airlock, but you need to open that airlock. Now, Dush Talk, I imagine this is where you might be useful here. So what do we see from Dush Talk?
Is the zero grav thing, like, since the thing is like it's down, can we assume that like the grav is like not stable on the ship, or is it like?
I think the grav's not super stable on the space crawler, but it appears that you may have gravity on the Ambassador to the Stars.
Okay. So I move into the door. I've got so I have my my trusty droid. It's a flying droid. I put it in the link. It's KS763. He's a slicer droid. He's like a flying slicer droid, which is really good in environments where we can't guarantee that there are floors or other things. So you were going to say something, Grant? Oh, okay. Sorry.
I got no audio for you.
Yeah, I love your droid. It's awesome.
Thank you.
We all love your droid. Does this droid just speak binary? Kind of similar to R2,
sure.
or do you imagine it has a voice coder? What do you imagine?
Oh, it'd be fun if it had a voice coder.
Okay, cool. So then it does.
And we'll say that it's an anxious Nelly or something like.
An anxious Nelly. Yeah.
Like it's always like it's doing like constant risk assessment, which is helpful some days.
Sorry, My Google Assistant has decided that I asked it to help me with.
It's nervous Nelly. I just confused I have a friend who's Nelly who confuses metaphors together. So I just took a page from her book and slash two metaphors together. Okay, so I go to the door and like I just want to make sure that what's on the other side is not like poison gas or anything.
That's a great thing to want to make sure of.
You know,
I
since
fully
that
support
one time-
wanting to know that. Awesome.
That one time when we lost 3 people because of the corrosive gas that was released when we opened the door, it's because there was leakage in the.
Is that what happened to the last pilot?
Yeah.
That's why you guys have a Gamorrean pilot. Cool. So
I think this umbilical cord.
then
I think-
Dushtalk, do you send KX ahead and like stick KX into the umbilical cord thing
Yes.
to check everything out?
Yes.
That's great. Are you oh, you're closing the door. And it just kind of hovers forward and then it starts slicing in. Let's go ahead and have you roll for it. I'll give you effectively like the ability of spray. So you get to roll 3D. And then it's basically a roll with advantage, but you'll need to make a I think it's a wit roll, right? Just like smarts and guile to slice through. And you're rolling with advantage because KX is helping you by doing it.
Could I have a link to the?
You can. I had linked that earlier, and I will relink it because it's kind of gone up in our chats. So sorry about that.
So it's
Previously powerful, crappy. So 3d6 is what you want to roll, and you're going to keep the best 2, or whichever 2 you want if you're, in the mood for pain. No XP for misses, though.
We'll go purple. 4 and a 5. 4 to 5.
4 and a
9.
Okay, on a per our rules, a 7 to 9 is a partial success. So what happens is that you hear KX say, it's coated. Oh, that's fine. No problems. And then starts welding it open. It says, this will be a one-way trip, Captain. Dushtalk, I'm going to have to cut in. And so as it cuts into the airlock itself and thunk, a big human or person-sized circle opens up. And when it does, right, if you guys are looking through, imagine like a really grimy looking glass steel into the thing. You see that the walls are coated with this greenish black growth. That the hallway, and unfortunately Rich doesn't have the technology to Photoshop in this into the hallways, but the hallways look kind of like that. Except imagine that around the corners, or not the corners, but on the sides and along the ceiling, there are all these spotty, it looks a little moldish in a way, but it's a greenish black growth that coats a lot of the areas. You can still see the gleaming white underneath it, but yeah, that's pretty obvious. And KX will head spins around. It appears this is a terrible idea, Dushtalk.
Thank you. I'm really reassured by that. I initially had like a sigh of relief that nothing bad was going to come through the door, but now I look at the situation and I just whistle the, oh boy, oh, this is going to be dangerous. For my colleagues, I mean, it's going to be dangerous for my colleagues.
So one of the cool things about Rovers, which is also in Blades, is that you guys get to choose your loadout when you go into something. You just choose how much weight you're carrying, and then you just tick off up to that amount before you need to do something about it. Which is to say, if you guys want to say, hey, it might be smart for us to be walking in this with a vac suit, you got a vac suit. the vac suit takes 2 out of your total load. So if you were sitting at a normal load, you would have 2-3 spots left where you could carry things. So go ahead and choose your loads. And I think the other Jawa will look at you, friend, and they say, we only have the 3 working vac suits other than yours.
You guys take all of the stuff. The rest of you take all your stuff that you have, that we've got in the cargo bay right now, and start putting it into your quarters, because we're going to get a big haul off of this, and we want as much space as possible to bring everything back in.
They're very excited about that.
These guys are rich. Have you seen the plans for this? I'm tempted just to take this ship instead.
Maybe you shouldn't have let the droid cut a hole in it.
What? Are you saying you can't patch it?
Ooh, I think that had to have been Pac Ulsi, and the others kind of shove Pac and laugh at him. Pac drops his little head, and the top tip of his hood just kind of droops over a little bit sadly. But then they get to, they head down to the hold and they start moving all their stuff. They've probably got certain items that they've had their eyes on anyway, and they'll just happen to move those into their quarters first. So everyone has wisely chosen vac suits. Are you bringing any of your followers with you, friend?
Yeah, I think so. So do we need to choose
You're
our
talking on
loadout
mute,
first?
Steven.
Oh,
okay. I can hear you now.
Okay. I was gonna say maybe there's a delay or something weird. Do we need to choose our loadout before we go in?
You do not need to choose your loadout before you go in. You just need to choose your load from the drop down.
Right.
So either normal, heavy, whatever. Right. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
And
then once we're in, we can then select. Oh, but I brought a vac suit because we need it.
Exactly.
Now. Perfect.
I assume you're wearing a vac suit into the place with the moldy stuff.
Yeah. And in addition, I think that this umbilical cord coming out of our ship is actually like a flexible one.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of goofy and it's dirty and grimy. And I think that whenever we saw KX start to weld, we saw these sparks start to fly off, and everybody went, ah! Yeah.
I'm not going to make it, but you will. Sorry, Steven.
I do have one small technical question.
Yes.
The one that's got just the weapon next to it could just be like a little blaster or something like that. Because it's got laser rifle at 2. And I wonder if weapon can be just like a pistol or
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Pistol, carbine, dagger, or sword.
And last question, is a laser power pack for like a heavy rifle, or is it for like a cutter or something?
It provides energy for larger lasers. So if you've just got like a holdout blaster, it's just one load. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Good. So you guys enter into the hallway. Let's see again, just we're not doing map combat, but you were saying that you wanted to enter into the executive suite. So the airlock into the executive suite, or the closest to the executive suite. So we'll say that if you're looking at that, there's like a white panel to the left of the bed on section 8 there. Imagine that might be where the airlock is. So it technically like pops into cargo, which like my brain says that's where you'd have an airlock to. When you come into the cargo and turret access section, which is section 10, the first thing that you notice is that there is there are 2 badly decomposed corpses here in this room. They both appear like humanoid. One is the skeleton of a Trandoshan, and the other is the skeleton of either human or near human. Hard to tell because they're so badly decomposed. You do see that they are filled with this greenish black growth. So you guys, because that hole was had to be cut open, you know, you guys, the umbilical cord is still there, the umbilical between the two ships, but I imagine you closed your thing. So hopefully if there's anything in the air, it hasn't like flowed back out of this ship at this point, but that is definitely a risk.
I think we see that happen. I think that Rent comes up and sees the two corpses, and they're full of that gunk. And he turns to the top three names are the Jawa that came in with us. So he turns back to Pak Ulsi and says, says something in Jawa'ese, and he kind of, runs back and then cycles the airlock, on the ship to make sure it's closed. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, good call. Awesome.
I think Ukork is largely uninterested in corpses. And he is the door open to into the hallway? Because we said we were seeing into the hallway a little bit. Yep.
Yes, you can see into the hallway. It is open.
I think Ukork's going to go looking for the passenger lounge across the way.
Sweet. So,
and as he floats through the door, you see the Sarlacc Riders emblem on the back of his thing. Just, deep cuts. Okay.
Quick, when you step into the main hall, you see the section 9. It's like the passenger lounge. When you look to your left, you see there's more like, imagine dark fireflies, right? Because there's a lot of white light here. That mold seems to be in the air. But you also see that there is a silver protocol droid. And it... Hello, I am C4PO. Welcome. Welcome to the ambassador, new passengers. Just starts walking forward. How may I be of service?
Ukork will key the comms on his vac suit. Do you speak Gamorrean? In Gamorrean.
And it grunts and squeals back. But of course, I'm able to speak over 3 billion languages. Gamorrean is one of my favorite.
Sounds valuable. What exactly happened here?
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question. Would you like something to drink?
Oh, he might be more valuable as scrap.
Our auto chef creates a mean bruchach.
Ooh, actually, yeah, I kind of want to see him enable the auto chef because maybe that's what caused all of this. Ukork's had some bad food back at a spaceport, and it looks like there's bad food everywhere.
So C4PO will turn and start walking down the hallway towards the galley, as if there's no worries whatsoever. It has been very long since I have helped another passenger. All the passengers seem to be very self-sufficient here.
Douche talk. You want to distract the droid?
So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why. You were thinking of someone else, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna. Yeah. I walk in. So as the note for Deuce Shock, I think I'm gonna have him being like a history buff, somebody who likes to go to these ships to try to find out what was really the story behind this ship.
Oh, nice.
It's like the scavenging is fun, but it's like, what sort of historical like memorabilia can I find for myself and sell? Maybe he's just a collector of like weird stuff. I like that. So I'm just as a side note, I'm really interested in who the people were. I have all sorts of stories. I'm like, I think maybe that this was like a love triangle gone wrong, and that maybe the Trandoshan thought that he couldn't live without his human partner, as his human partner decided that they were going to go to another planet, and so bad things happened. I also think that the chef that's been there, it's been over processing some sort of organism that has led to this thing. All sorts of theories. Anyway, so distract. So you want me to distract the guard, the droid?
Yeah, figure out what the droid's doing while
Oh
we
my
find all
God.
the cargo.
I just sit in front of the droid and I'm like, C4. What was his name? C4.
C4PO.
C4PO.
Glad to make your
C4PO.
acquaintance.
I'd love to hear stories about all of your time on this ship.
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question. Would you like something to drink?
Yes, I would love something to drink.
Cool. And you do notice that you guys notice there is a restraining bolt on the chest of C4PO. And so C4PO will lead you to the galley. Front and your brother and sister Jawa, or your family Jawa, what are you guys up to?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So I think as we come through the cargo hold, I think Rent kind of walks by and he looks at this thing on a on a little pad thing, and he reaches over and he taps on one of the crates, and one of the Jawas goes in and starts kind of trying to tear it open, right? And then he comes out into the hallway. Luckily, C4 has made it far enough down that he's not like, we're taking that home too. And then he kind of scurries over to where the executive suites are, and he figures if there's money here, it's got to be in the executive suites.
Oh yeah, totally makes sense.
So he's the door is open or closed?
The door to the executive suite is actually closed, so you'll need to find a way to get into that.
Yeah, so I think he's going to start trying to hack in and get into it.
Okay.
Pull off the panel and start jamming at wires and stuff.
Oh, sweet. That sounds like you're going to be making a wit roll.
Hey. And I rolled a 5 plus 1 is 6.
Sweet. And you're using the burglary kit, which you have. So 5 plus 1 is a 6. Yeah. So you start to slice in to this, not using the slicer droid of douche talks, because you and your crew have got this handled. When you do the first bypass, the door like pops open just a little bit and then shuts closed, and then you hear a womp womp womp, a little bit of a klaxon that happens, and then there is do you guys remember from the Mandalorian the like prison ship, the security droids?
Oh yeah.
One of those, a little closet like opens up, and a little security droid, not little, a security droid starts to come down the hallway. Brent, what do you do? I think your fellow Jawa are about to scatter.
That's right. So I think let's see what my load is.
That's great thing about the load. If you're like, oh, I have one more space, bam, I have a pistol.
Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out on my belt, and at my belt, I think I have one of those droid ionizer things. So I'm going to tick off weapon, and I'm going to shoot that security droid with it, just to disable it for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that sounds good. Let's have you go ahead and make a might isn't just strength. I imagine that it covers athletics and prowess. So shooting a blaster feels like it's a might roll to me.
Right. So I'm at -2 on it.
You suck at this. Hey, do you want to spend a strain to get yourself an extra die?
So do we have a list of strain? Oh yeah, I see it under XP.
Yeah,
I'm not in this case because failure.
You have a number of strain equal to your terms plus 1. So you actually have 3 strain.
Oh, okay. I'm going to mark off the other 2 then.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I can kind of see what's left.
They actually correspond underneath your terms. But yeah, I think
Oh, they
marking
do.
is
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay. Since I didn't do that and I already rolled, I'll keep the roll.
okay.
I rolled boxcars.
Nice.
So that makes it 10. Yep. And what we see on screen is we see this he reaches over with that mechanical grip, welding kind of arm thing, and he goes to shoot, and right before it shoots, the weapon shifts in that, because it's not a really good thing. The weapon shifts and then hits right on target.
Ah, that's awesome.
And then he goes back to trying to jigger with the wires inside the panel.
Yeah, so you hit that security droid, it starts to fall. The other Jawa, seeing that you've done that, one of them has one of those little ion cannons, right? So he pops that up and he shoots it and it electrocutes it, and then they all scamper over it, trying to scuttle the thing and make sure that it's down for good. The executive door does open after it popped that klaxon, but Ukork and Dushtak, the 2 of you, along with your friendly droid companion, your protocol droid, you've made it into the galley. The galley's right by the med bay, and the way that it looks like the galley works, there's an auto chef that calculates. It's effectively like a computer. It's not a droid personality, and it's connected to the larder, and then you order up food and it chops and creates it, and then you can head out to the area like the crew lounge, and that's where you would normally eat. So the C4PO has led the 2 of you into the galley area, and you see that the auto chef is with right by it is a dead body that just has fallen over and eaten up with this bluish or greenish blackish mold type fungus. And C4PO says, all you have to do is input your own order. If you're illiterate, I will be happy to transcribe it for you. Then the klaxon goes off, and C4PO says, oh no. He starts walking, and then the blaster fire happens. And
Wow. Okay. KS, could you find an interface to shut down this defense system?
Oh yeah, of course, sure, no problem. And then it will try to do that. So why don't you go ahead and make a wit roll, 3d6.
Oh my God. This place is dangerous.
Bounty hunting and scavenging are complicated professions. I don't know which of those were your new ones.
It's a 6, a 4, and a 2.
Okay, so 6 and a 4, 10. Because you've got a 0. Let's go ahead and make sure we're like getting rid of these dice.
Yeah, that's true. Let's do that. Let's get rid of all of them.
Got them.
Okay.
All right. So 6 and a 4 is a 10. BX is getting to the work on trying to do a patch and override on the security system, and BX says, "Oh, this is rather complicated. It's too bad we can't take all of this. Why don't you take all of this, Dushtak? I think I heard Rent was talking about taking over this ship instead of that space crawler. This seems like an excellent idea."
I actually agree.
Except for the bioorganic, whatever that is.
But I like the head to ceiling ratio in this ship much better. What I could do. Did he succeed? He succeeded, right?
He believes he succeeded.
Okay, it believes he succeeds. Amazing.
Of course.
Is the droid still functional? Is it
the droid is not a security droid. It was just a protocol droid, so it kind of freaks out for a moment there, but then it just calms down.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So My, that was very disturbing. Would you like a drink?
Yes, you should take us to the kitchen. I say with a
And
slim-
then it gestures to the galley where you're standing.
Oh, right. Sorry, my brain's off today.
All you have to do is input your order into the data pad. If you're
Right.
illiterate, I am happy to translate for you.
Yeah. So I look at the data pad. What are the options on it?
Oh, it's a pretty wide array of different drink options. There's alcoholic, there are intoxicants, fermented. Yeah, what are you interested in?
Is there a history button on the data pad?
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah, I think you could probably like pull up the history based off of various crew members and the like, do you want the captain special? What are you looking for?
I want to
Just
see
like
what the
to
last things
support
that
your
were ordered here.
Oh, and the timestamps on it? Nice,
Sure.
nice. Yeah, the last thing that was ordered is a Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster, because of course it was. And the last time that there was an order placed on this particular ship based on the timestamps and syncing everything up is that this thing has been a derelict for about 4 years. So during the Imperial times, this was an executive class cruiser. And also, this was an Imperial authorized executive class cruiser. While it was corporate, it does look like that it was a corporation that did milsec work.
I mean, if you're selling us on keeping the ship, you're doing a really good job.
Sure.
That's really good. Okay, that's great. So we know that. Now I look at Thrend. Is it Thrend? Am I saying your name right?
I don't think there's
Friend.
a the. I think it's Hra, right?
Right. So Thrend, do you think we should worry about all this mold stuff? Like technically I would worry about all this mold stuff, but like, how do you feel about it?
Cake says, I'm not worried.
And I think so. Rent is so he's working on the executive suite door, and he kind of comes around the corner, hearing this over his comm, and I think he kind of punches a button and says, "Well, it depends. If we can get a good score out of a few things and get it back on the ship, I think that's fine. But if we need to, luckily KX has already made us a hole. We can vent everything out into space, and who knows if that mold should die, once it's vented into space, and then maybe you got a ship."
Okay.
So you're
All right.
explaining that as you pry open the door, and sure enough, there is a dead body in this executive suite. The body is laying over the bed, so it's kind of decomposed, and it's a little bit of sluice, so it's a little gross, but the mold is all over the bed, and you see that there is a very small, like a tackle box, like a metal tackle box type thing, that is open, and then there are these not not styrofoam, but packing, some kind of packing foamish type stuff that's a gray, and there are these little vials, and one of them is open. What do you do?
So I don't recognize what these vials are. These are just weird things.
Yeah,
right?
it's like do you want to go pick up one of the vials? What do
I
you
don't
want to
think
do?
so. I think first thing I want to do is I'm looking for a safe.
Oh yeah, that totally
like
makes
a
sense.
jewelry case or
Cares
something like
about
that.
that tackle
right.
box of vials? Yeah,
That's
look
probably
for
what killed everybody. It's fine.
Sure, right. That makes sense. It's logical. Sweet. So you head over, and there's a place to store personal valuables. It's of course locked. It's got a high degree of security to it, so it's one of those. Maybe you should just cut it out and take it with you versus the amount of time it may take to slice this one open.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. So I think I found something that's worthwhile. I think I'm going to ask one of the other Jawa to come up. And this will be the third one on the list, which is Evod. Evod, come over here. And he gets too busy with his little welding.
Yeah, he comes in. He's got the blaster arm from the security droid that they just scuttled. He's pretty proud of himself. But yeah, he'll help you cut into that. That's no problem.
Yeah. And I think he kind of looks over at the at the tackle box there on the bed every once in a while. He's like, how much you think that's worth?
According to who wants to buy it.
I think Rent's like, well, obviously it cost these guys a ship.
It's true, but it's pretty valuable to us because it got us a ship.
Yeah.
Still, though, it's so everything's so high. I hate it.
Yeah.
We could have twice the decks.
Ooh, we should. We could take plating off the old ship and put it halfway, and then we could have 2 levels.
Very efficient.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's like, cutting that open, and then it just falls to the ground. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah, I think that's whenever I call for Ukork. I'm like, Ukork, heavy thing, heavy safe.
I think Ukork has been trying to get to the cockpit at this point.
Oh, nice. So you find out that when the security alarm was triggered, the door leading into the area there, number 2, the passenger seating, actually
all locked down now.
Locked, yeah, it locked.
All right. So with that, the klaxon goes off. Of course, trying to open the door. Bangs against it with his hands. That's probably when Horent is like, "Oh, we got the safe," and Ukork turns around and goes, "Well, if you can get me in the cockpit, I'll take your safe over." And sort of trade roles up here, and Ukork will go into this this executive suite, see the broken vials. What's that?
Don't touch.
Book's expensive.
Like, let's take the safe first.
All right. Ukork picks up the safe like it's nothing. I'm thinking, yeah, and makes his way over to the vac tube. Do I need to do anything to get it back, or are we just counting that as retrieved?
I kind of like Ren to make me a quick wit roll.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a 4. 5.
Yeah. 5. Awesome.
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Rock on. No problem whatsoever. You cross over the umbilical, open up the airlock, little bits of you like walk in with it, little bits of the greenish black mist comes in with you. You're still in your vac suit though, so you're fine. You could drop it, walk it all the way into the cargo hold, drop it down. The Jawas who stayed behind come in like, oh, and they start working on it. They've got different tools and they're going to start trying to, hack into it and crack it open. No problems. One of them gives you a thumbs up.
Great, we've doomed everyone. All right, Ukork's gonna go back because we gotta get into that cockpit, and it's another thing to drive, so we gotta give it a shot.
It's totally another thing to drive.
So as Rent heads up towards the front, I'm going to turn to Dushocht and say, there's some vials back there in the executive, what's it called? Yeah, executive suite. I think they're what caused all of this. You might want to take a look.
Yeah, it's funny. I lean down very cautiously because I know that it's probably poison, like this moss thing. I want to do something not Jedi.
Okay. # not a Jedi.
Not a Jedi.
What do you want to do?
I wonder if now this is probably a stretch, and so like we can play around with it. I wonder if I can either see or communicate with the moss, like even if it's just an impression of like if it's a living thing, right? Like
Uh-huh.
it flows through the forest, right? Technically speaking.
Uh-huh.
So like maybe I can get some insight on like either what it is or what its motivation is.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so the way that it works is you spend a strain and you do something with the force. So yeah, you spend a strain and you reach out with the force. What does that look like? What is Dushtak not being a Jedi but somehow reaching out to the force? What does that look like?
There's like there's a little bit of like how can I say I don't want to say like spell casting, but like there's some words to calm myself down. So it could be like think of the wave as the water. And so I just say this like monologue or maybe this haiku of things that just settles my mind in the place that I am. And then I say like I actually say out what I'm trying to do in a sense. So like let us connect together so we can learn from each other.
Nice. Nice. The imagery that you get is not a communication that a person could have with another person. Like when you're one with all of the items here, you hear not thousands of voices, but hundreds of thousands of instincts. These things are effectively a virus. And so their instinct is to find a new host, to propagate the species, to grow, to move, to find a new host. So they have this just drive. There's no sentience to it. It's so small. That said, have you ever like there's a bit of animism to it in that each of those things on an individual level don't have thoughts, but there's a general like drive that keeps the hive somewhat together. And there's a type of happiness with what has happened here. Like it is at home, and it is curious about new, about growing, about
Is it
expanding.
excited? Does
It
it
is.
feel
It's a little
excited?
curious. It's a little excited because
Okay.
something new is happening here.
Yeah, it's really bad. This is so bad. Okay. I feel very I understand it, and I feel very worried about it now. And so I exit, and I'm like, and I just like you can hear me, Ukor, don't go anywhere with that. Just stop what you're doing.
And I think that's about the time that Ukork, you're like right at the airlock about to open it up again, and you hear one of the Jawa sneeze. It's like this weird sneeze. Jawa sneeze like.
Oh, everyone froze.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I can hear you.
I can hear you, but you're frozen.
But I'm
And now you're
frozen.
moving. Okay.
Okay. Here we are. That sneeze. It was really powerful. And it stopped
threw
us all
everything
in our
off.
tracks.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think Ukork is sort of looking back at the airlock, having just brought the thing. So are we all wearing vac suits?
Friend,
Everyone
Ukork,
on the ship is
Dushtak,
wearing.
everyone on the
okay.
ship, including the 3 Jawa, because you only had 3
Right.
working vac suits.
For the
So
Jawas, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And Ukork is gonna pull up the deck plans and start looking for the medical bay.
Okay.
There's got to be a med bay, right? Right? There's a med bay. Maybe there's
There
a
is
med
a
bay.
med bay. The med bay
Has anyone
is,
checked the med bay?
for some reason, the med bay is right by the galley. What? Who thought that would? Okay, but yeah, sure enough, the med bay not even locked. Like there are no locks on the med bay for some reason. Some kind of weird deal. But yeah, you can head to the med bay, and there's a B1 droid there. It is deactivated.
Is there all is the same
Oh yeah,
like mossy
there's
grossness?
a dead body on the bed.
And Ukwork is gonna do the how Ukwork wakes up a droid, which is just sort of hit it in the chest really hard and see if that works.
It does.
Nice.
Alert. Alert. You should. How may I be of assistance?
What's your designation?
B14A.
Okay, B14A. What exactly happened here?
A bioorganic entity was released into the airstream.
I imagine that doesn't translate very well to Gamorrean.
It's not speaking Gamorrean.
Yeah.
It's speaking basic.
And Ukwork will gesture to the dead body on the med bay. Who is this?
That was the captain.
Okay. So where did this biological agent come from?
I am unsure. He looks down, and you see that this B1 droid does not have legs. Like, this is his place.
That's where he's stuck. Okay.
Yep. I was
Is
unable
there-
to conduct investigations to the origins of the bioorganic entity.
And then Ukwork is probably very slowly putting together that maybe the vials are the thing, but isn't entirely sure about it. So if we brought you a sample, could you cure it?
If you brought me a sample, I could analyze it and attempt to find a vaccination of some kind. However, before I became inoperable, I was unable to find the solution based off of the captain's symptoms.
All right, this is all going over Ukwork's head, and he still wants to get to that pilot, to the cockpit.
My recommendation is that you vent the entire ship to space for at least a period of 1 month.
1 month. 1 month. Oh. And yeah, I imagine Harent is somewhere nearby.
Yeah, you could. Let's say
Yeah.
Grant hears that.
You hear all this Jawaese kind of cursing.
Steve can't hear you.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
You hear all this? Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hear you now.
You hear all this Jawaese kind of cursing, and he's like, and Rent's like, well, venting is not a problem, but this ship, but I don't want to live in my vac suit for like a month. That would be awful. Yeah.
Over the comms, you hear Thog. Rent. Wabbock's sick.
What?
Wabbock started coughing real bad. I sent him to go sit down.
Oh shit. Okay, so yeah, we gotta fix this real quick. Yeah. Who's gotta Okay, so I guess first we gotta figure out how to vaccinate this. You're at the medical droid? Is that right, Ukwork?
Yeah, the med droid saying something about biological needs a sample. Captain's dead. Are we gonna fly this thing or not?
I think we have to make sure we're okay to fly this thing first. Hey, can you go back and get those vials off that bed and take them to the medical droid?
Yeah, I can do that.
I'm working on the getting access up into the crew, up into the captain's area.
Okay, yeah. So Ukwork will go back to the what is it, the deluxe suite or whatever.
Yeah.
Grab the vials, very carefully with his gloved hands, and bring them over to the 2B unit.
No problem. So you like
Like-
close the kit up and you carry it in. What do? You do see that one vial that's open, like it's just been twisted and open. Do you put the stopper back in or just shove it back in or leave it outside of the kit? What do you do with that?
Oh, yeah, I'll put the stopper back in on that one.
Makes
but
sense.
I'm gonna note that that was the one that was open to the medical droid.
I actually watch you do all of those things, and I say, you know, we have a droid, right?
KX says, I thought this was an excellent idea. It looked very heavy.
You put too much trust in that droid.
The B1 droid reaches out with his little hand and he says, thank you very much. I will begin my analysis. Or technically, I will resume my analysis. And then it gets to work.
Like the most
Yeah,
common
that's a
mistake.
good point. Somebody said, hey, bio break. I think that's a good call. Maybe we do a quick bio break here. It is 36 after 10 minutes. I'm good. All right, cool. See you guys in a bit. I'm pretty excited because the area of the outer rim around the Minos cluster where a cache is, where you guys are currently, and Elrude, which is where the Spaceport Trident Vespa is, and there's another place called Kal Shabal that is further out towards the wild space. Like we're doing our own thing, but it's also some stuff that will come into play for the second half of the month for the Starship, X-Wing pilot stuff. So pretty excited because Kal Shabal expanded universe, but like there's basically a Moff who's like, nope, this is my home now, just taking it over, and so that's going to be a problem. Hey, welcome back, everybody. So yeah, you've provided the sample to the B1 droid, and it says, oh, this is good. This appears to be the purest form of the bioorganic entity. This should expedite my research. I should have some recommendations for you in 2 to 4 weeks.
So are we venting it then? Can you keep working with this place vented?
Yes. The main concern is that the bioorganic entity is not only in the air filtration system, but is likely behind most panels and most every other aspect of the ship. Oh, one unfortunate circumstance with venting the ship is that, of course, while all will remain operational, it's likely that a great deal of ice will form. Eventually,
Well, what's
it may
our
be
move,
difficult for it to
Brent?
move.
I don't know. I think we're kind of fucked because I think we're kind of carked because they're getting sick on the other ship now. So the best thing we might be able to do, the last option is probably to jump in an escape pod and head down to a planet, and hope that we don't carry any of this stuff with us. But that
I'm
means
sure
we
that's a good
lose,
idea.
huh?
I'm sure that's a great idea.
I'm like, but the problem here is this ship is hosed and our ship is hosed. Yeah, we could. I wonder if these guys made any more progress. You'd think that the progress would actually be what's in those other vials?
Oh, yeah, what's in the other vials? So, how do you want to find out what's in the other vials?
Was it Ukork who took him to the
Yeah,
med
it's
bay?
in the med bay. Yep.
Yeah, so I think Rent says, hey, have the medical droid check out the other vials, analyze the other vials. Don't let him open them.
All right. Yeah. Ukork's down with this. Turns to the medical unit. What about the other vials?
Hold on a sec, just checking.
And then the medical droid barks at him, and it's very confusing.
You okay? He's laying in his little bed here in my office and just popped up and decided to bark. I'm not sure what the trigger was. He seems okay now. Sorry. So you offer up the other vials. So
Yeah.
the B1 droid reaches and pulls up one of the vials, and you see inside is actually like a more reddish than the greenish blackish look. Does it look like blood? There are these weird flecks of gold inside. I am not allowed to open this vial to examine the contents. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'd rather keep it that way. Or I could leave the room and seal it, and you could look.
You are welcome to leave the room and seal it.
Okay, that works.
What do I have
Oh,
to
so
seal
you-
when everything is bad?
leave the room and seal it. And we see the B1 droid like turns off the air filtration system, effectively making a vacuum in here. And then it will get to work and open up the little vial and start examining the contents of that. You get a communication again, Vrent. This dog says, hey, Vaba's, Vaba's sick too.
So you guys all just go lay down for a little while. We've got things taken care of over here. We're looking for something to help you guys.
Actually, get on the comms. Actually, could you go to like 1/4 and lock the door and just cycle the air inside that 1/4, please? Like.
Yeah. Why don't you? That seems like a guile kind of thing. Let's see you go ahead and give a wit roll. Do you want to spend any strain?
How much strain do I have left? I think
You would have 1 strain left.
1 strain left. Yeah, that seems like
you don't have to. I just wanted to ask because I wasn't asking before. So
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
So that's so how does the 0 work? I didn't know how the attributes work in the world. Is it
it's just your 2d6 plus that attribute, so you're just rolling flat 2d6.
It's a 7.
Nice. So on a 7 to 9, you're trying to convince them, hey, go hide in a room. So it's a partial success. They're like, did the Gamorrean did something. Gamorrean killed us, didn't he? We're all going to die because of the Gamorrean.
It's just a temporary situation. We're just trying to limit the impact to the rest of the ship to make sure that, as we figure out what this is, that,
Thog gets Wabik and Vaba, and they'll go into a room that they can seal off, and they're going to try to do something.
Maybe get into a vac suit might not be a bad idea at this point.
You don't have any vac suits. You guys have only vac suits.
Well, try not to sound disappointed. Try not to sound like, oh, that's really too bad.
He's pretty worried. He's pretty worried.
Up in a room.
Cool. They will lock themselves up in a room. Sweet. So yeah, you guys can.
Did we ever get into the cockpit? Did Brent?
Oh,
Brent was working on
you know what? Why don't we pick up with you guys opening up the cockpit? You've let's give you a wit roll just to make sure that you don't set off
another alarm.
Undo what KX did. You'll only do that on a fail. On a 7 to 9, you'll be okay. It'll still be effectively a mixed success. Something else will happen, but security droids won't come after you.
Okay. So I'm actually going to spend a point of strain to roll an extra D because, I know going into the executive suite, these things are a little bit harder. So let's see what that looks like. Okay. I rolled an 11 and my wit is a 1, so that's a 12.
Nice. That is fantastic. In fact, per the rules, a 12 or more is a critical success. So, not only are you able to open the passenger door, like if you look at the ambassador layout, there's actually a vac seal door in the passenger section, which gets you into area 2. And then there's a further one in the cockpit area. In the passenger seating, door opens up and you see a little bit of the spores come in as you step inside, but there's significantly less spores here. And you figured out the key sequencing. So if you want to open up the door to the actual cockpit, then you can do so.
So I think I pound. So basically, I cycle the door over the comm unit. I tell Ukork, here's the key. Here's the key combination if you want to get in, but close the door behind you. And I go over to the pilot door, the cockpit door. Is it going to? Would this be piloted by humans or by people, or would it be piloted by robots?
Uh,
Guess it doesn't matter.
well, based on the schematics, it was built for for sentient bioorganics to bipeds to pilot it.
Okay. So I think I'm going to walk up to the door before I open it. I'm going to pound on it. See if anything comes back.
Cool. You pound on it, wait for a few moments, nothing comes back.
Great. I'm going to key code it open to open it up, step inside, close the door again.
Cool. So you key code, open it up, step inside, close the door again, and well, as soon as it opens up, you see that it is red in here. Like there's a red filter of light. So there's nothing appears to be floating in the air. There's a red filter of light, and you see that there is a single dead body that is not, it's decomposed, but does not appear to have any of the moss or mold on it. It was a human with a beard, but it's been dead for a few years, so it's hard to tell much else about it. You shut the door behind you, and you see that this ship, that the actual cockpit is on some kind of technical lockdown.
And I think I'm going to go. So do I think that this red color, the red lighting in here has anything to do with the mold? The lack of mold?
I'm not going to make you go to dice. It appears that this red lighting is a red alert indicator.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for.
So whatever went wrong in the ship probably triggered that, but you don't think the mold is making it look red here.
Okay. And so I'm going to go to the cockpit and start seeing what it would take to well, number one, to take control of the ship, number two, vent, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna get back on the comms and say, Ukork, what do you want to do here? Fly it away?
I just wanted to make sure it was still flyable.
Yeah. So that's what I'll check on.
Yeah, it's still flyable. It'll take a little bit of time if you want to try to find the right key sequences. If you want to pop a panel and just go in and start trying to hotwire the sucker, you think you can do it with a little bit of time. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think it's flyable. We got a bigger problem though, which is, making sure it's habitable.
And to that end, I think Ukork has gone to the back of the ship because there's more of this yet to be explored. Going to open up that door to the area 11, the loading ramp.
Okay. Yeah, the boarding ramp there, that is area 11. So you're going to head back in through there to effectively engineer's quarters where the hyperdrive core is and the boarding ramp. So you pop open to there, you find a couple more dead bodies. They are infested with the weird mold spores, and from the look of the positioning of the body, just a thing that Ukork would probably, this person died quick, like they died walking downstairs.
Well, that's not good.
Engineer's quarters are open. There's a dead body in there laying on the bed. Hyperdrive is still operational. It's fully operational. It's way better than what the space crawler has.
Okay. Is there anything valuable that I found? At the end of the day, we're still trying to strip this thing.
Yeah, you can grab 2 cred worth of easy to carry gear out of this. You've got that safe. Where's the word?
Right, the safe.
From? You've got the safe. This is going to be a good haul if you bake it out.
Okay.
You also realize probably the droids themselves will be really good salvage.
Right. You know, I think Ukor's gonna take his vibro axe and just kind of poke one of the dead bodies and make sure it's really dead.
Yep, super dead.
Okay, good. You know, spend enough time in space, you hear things.
You do. Does not move. For a moment you think, but no.
No.
Trick of
Okay.
the light.
All right. Yeah, we're still waiting on to see if the medical droid has anything from that red vial.
Hopefully it's not like a super organism killer that kills all organisms within sight as soon as it touches, right?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I guess Ukork is pretty satisfied about things, just waiting on the droid.
Nice. Okay. Rint, you've entered the cockpit. I think we dealt with you. So I want to zip around the douche duck and see what douche duck's up to.
Dushak is like really worried.
Fair.
I just ordered a couple of our crewmen to like lock themselves in a room and hopefully they don't die. And if Ukork has communicated any of the things that he's communicated to us, like my stress level may have just like spiked. And like the only thing I'm thinking about is like we try to quarantine our hold and try to like decontaminate ourselves before we just GTFO or get the shit out of here, you know. But besides that, I think did we explore Area 10?
You came in through Area 10.
Oh, okay, right. So we came into Area 10, and then we went to the executive suite. Might as well just open whatever. Like, I'll go to door for room. Is it room 4?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the crew bunk.
Yeah, let's go to the crew bunk.
Sweet. Dead body on the floor. Dead body in the bunk. It's crew bunk, so it's pretty sparse. Like they're just kind of like they're 3 stack high of just little beds in there. You know, like bunks, literal bunks, and a little ladder to the side, and they've got some personal effects on the walls and that kind of stuff, but it's pretty sparsely appointed.
Okay.
There's not enough room to keep a lot of stuff. You can
There-
lift up a couple mattresses, grab some things. There's a data pad there, some other data crystals, and you know, some credits and stuff like that. One guy's got a fixed he's got a little marked deck of sabacc that he used to cheat, but he'll never get to cheat again.
Okay, how about this? Do any of the data pads, maybe not in this room, maybe I'll go to the captain's quarters. Any of the data pad have like a history, like or like a captain's log, or you know, like a historical document? Did somebody keep like a journal?
Sure. In the executive suite, you can kind of hunt around. You'll find a little holodeck, like a holo projector, and it's got a data crystal in it of previous communications, and you see some like one-sided conversations between this fairly attractive middle-aged executive as he's reporting in, and there's none of the salacious romance that you're hoping for with the Trandoshan. It seems a little humdrum, but what you gather is that this is going on, like Ukork's doing his stuff and Rint's doing his stuff. It appears that this particular this guy, who's actually his name is Thal. He's an executive for one of the core world military security corporations, and that they were ferrying some stuff to another sector here in the Outer Rims, actually headed to the Minos cluster. And yeah, he seemed like overly nervous about what they were transporting.
Right.
And the communications get more and more desperate. Like, I don't trust what's going on here. I just got a notification from ISB. They're watching us. It seems to get more and more like paranoid, to the point where he says, I really don't trust this at all. And it seems that he's talking to another person who's not part of the corporation, maybe someone he knows personally, and then he says, I really think I need to see what this really is. I have to know.
And he opened the vial.
Yeah, and he opened the vial.
Oh. Yeah, so the most, like, I opened the comlink, I'm like, yeah, so I think the most valuable thing that this ship has is the vial. And also, these things are weapons. They were manufactured. Like, that's what my gut says.
Well, let's hope that they
Cool.
also
So
manufactured
we cut to Rent. Maybe Douchedock, you tell them that over the comms, and Rent, you, what do you want to do?
let's hope that they also manufactured the cure. There's not much else we can do. We either live in the suits until the air runs out, or we find a cure. If it's not in the, so yeah, I'm gonna get on the comms and talk to the B1 unit,
Cool.
and see, have you found anything else out?
I have excellent news for you, passenger. It appears that this vial is filled with a liquid that is able to counteract the bioorganic entity. However, it is also extremely poisonous to any bioorganic entities. I do not recommend releasing this in an area with people who are not wearing a vac suit.
What about those who are already infected?
At this point, I have been unable to create a vaccine.
Okay, so best news. Let's. I'm gonna head back to where Douchedock and Ukork are. Let's reconvene. I'll go over the comment. I'll say let's reconvene at the med bay.
Cool. So you guys are standing outside of the med bay itself, which
Yeah.
is still kind of vac sealed.
Yeah, and I'll say, okay, good news. You want the good news or the bad news first?
It's good for good. I like hope.
Good news. So we think that we have a cure, and that will get rid of all of this stuff, but it's poisonous, so we'll have to stay in the vac suits.
I
Bad
think I know
news?
what the bad news is.
Yeah. Bad news is whenever we dose our ship, our guys are gone.
Is this conversation in front of your 3 followers who also have vac suits?
No, I've kept
Okay.
them busy. You know, hey, go pile up. You guys go disconnect the hyperdrive. It's much better than ours.
Oh,
And we'll
yeah.
figure out how to.
Great. Yeah,
take
I'm
that
working
in.
on that now.
Yeah.
It's a management scrum.
Yeah. I'm like,
That's fine.
so, and that also means that B1, do we have enough to dose both ships?
It appears you have enough to dose a small planet.
Great. So we're here. We can basically take both ships, but it was a very costly event. So I guess let's get on it right away. Dose this ship first, and we'll all get busy ditching off the bodies. And I
Okay.
think that's what we do. And then dose our ship next.
So when you're telling this med droid that is affixed and doesn't have legs to dose something, what are you saying?
Well, what does B1 say? How he said this could be used to kill the organism.
Mhm. It can
Did he
use
say
one
anything about-
vial. It's going to go through the umbilical cord. If you just open up the airlock, it'll do both ships in one vial, and you'll have one vial left. It burns itself out over a half hour. It's basically made to destroy a small population of the spores.
Of the spores, yes. Yes, spores.
Okay, so if I heard correctly,
This is an
just-
Imperial super weapon. that you can drop in the middle of a village. It will kill everyone. Then you drop the second piece. It will wipe everything else out.
So the issue here is, number one, we've got a couple of guys who are isolated on our ship. We need to get them to open the vents, and we need to make sure the vents are open everywhere.
All right.
So
How
one
you
of
going to
them
do that?
lie that leads to their deaths, basically.
Yeah. Do you guys have any idea how we can save our guys? Oh. Yeah. Do you guys have any ideas about how to save our guys?
Oh.
Yep, me neither. Is there an escape pod on this vehicle?
Let me check. I think that there should be, right? It wouldn't necessarily
I would
be
think so.
on the deck plans, but yeah, I think there is. In fact, actually, I may even be able to see one like there in
There's a
14.
crawl space access.
Yeah.
as
So
well
you
get
have to go
down.
through the crawl space access. Yep, you could do that. I think that
Yeah,
makes-
I'm not sure that this is going to help any. I think I'm going to go back and get back on the comms and
Mhm.
see if the three over on our ship, the three Jawa, can speak up. Right? Are they still, communicating?
Yeah, Vaba is still communicating. You hear some like wheezing in the background as Vaba says, Rent, can you make sure that my parents get their credits?
I will. So what I need for you to do is everybody over there sick?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think I need for you to open up the vent. We've got a cure for the virus over here.
Give me a wit roll.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll do that. And I've got
They're your
this rain-
followers, so I'm gonna say you got a +1 forward with these guys, right? They want to trust you,
Oh,
but it's a
that's
pretty
awful.
stressful situation.
I think Ukork is putting his hand on your shoulder.
And I think I tell you guys basically this stays between us. This is a cure. We didn't know anything else happened. Yeah. I rolled a 9 plus 1 is for wit is a 10. Plus
Okay.
1 more is 11. Yeah.
Okay.
So I let them open up the vents.
Okay, Ren.
And yeah.
They open up the vents.
And I think we need to make sure that all of the vents are open here on both ships.
Mm-hmm.
And then including the one to the med bay, and then tell B1 open that second vial.
Okay. B1 does so, and pretty soon you see this red mist come out, and it just expands very, very quickly. It's just like if you've ever seen a smoke canister open up, how it just like whoosh, it pours out, and it come and obfuscates all of your vision on the vac suit for a little while, and then once everything is expanded out, that it just hangs in the air, and it's like this reddish smoke. But you check, and it's moving through the vents, and yeah, if we can kind of fast forward time, but a half hour later, all these things just start falling to the ground as like little red sand kind of particles. And what do you do?
Yeah, sorry, Dukosh, we had to kill all your friends. Well, yeah. So I think that
Oh, and sorry, I didn't say, but like the bodies, the like greenish black mold, all that is gone. The bodies are gone. Like it ate through everything biological. This is spick and span clean again.
Well, if this is efficient.
and I say to B1, when can we get out of the vac suits? When is it safe for us to get out of the vac suits?
You should be safe to get out of the vac suits when you are able and ready.
Okay. So I'll pilot this ship, and you know, Ukor, you can pilot our old ship. We'll weld the thing back into place, and I think we're ready to head out.
So who's the new second in command? Ro, Pak, or Evad?
I don't know.
All right. Well, you have to think about that.
Yeah.
They get in, they patch that airlock hole, and you guys pull the umbilical cord back. By the way, the interior of the space crawler is the cleanest it's ever been, because there was a whole lot of like spilled, food and all that. All that's gone. It's not clean because there's a lot of rust and there's a lot of patchwork, but it's as clean as you've ever seen it.
So we still have one of these. We still have vials of both weapons right now?
Yes, you have vials of both weapons.
I don't think Ukork wants those around. I mean, if we're going to have a little powwow, I think it's great we got the ship. I don't think we should sell these at all. There's no good, no amount of credits to me is worth selling this.
Right. It took out some of the honored members of my clan. I think we take. Yeah, I think that we should take this and we'll jettison it into a star or something like that. But I think we all want to make sure that we're all okay, so we'll wait. I suggest we wait a week to do this, just to make sure we don't get sick or anything like that.
Okay. So you guys take the ambassador to the stars and fly back to Spaceport Trident Vespa, your home where your clan is and the rest of your stuff. Is that right? I want to make sure I'm not trying to tell you where to go. Make a
if I'm not mistaken, I think you said that it would be difficult to get this ship to tow it back or anything like that, because they would recognize what it was.
They would. So you're leaving the ship. You're just going to scuttle it.
No,
because you said pilot it, so I got a little confused. Sorry.
No. I was talking about piloting it. I think I'm going to pilot it, like to an asteroid kind of place.
Okay.
And I think we're going to sell this off piece by piece.
Okay.
Right.
Cool. So your plan is to just take it, park it back, and it was hidden in an asteroid for several years anyway, in an asteroid field anyway. So you could just park it back in there, maybe drop it on one of the larger parts of the asteroid.
So we got a map to it so other people could get a map to it.
Yeah,
we're going to move it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's in a different place.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And you guys, I mean, certainly it would be great to take this ship, but it's, a known ship, and, we could, it seems too hot. But I think what we'll do is we'll upgrade what systems we can on our ship and sell all the rest.
Okay.
Mind wipe the droids. Sell them for parts.
No problem. So you guys grab the broken security droid, the B1, the protocol droid. You scuttle the ship for all the stuff that can be easily moved off. You're not time sensitive at this point because you've hidden it in this asteroid field. Nobody else knows where you are. So this will be an operation you guys can spend a day on if you want.
What do you guys think about keeping the B1? Can we? I think we can hook the B1 up in our cargo bay. It'd be nice to have a surgeon.
I think it'd be useful.
Yeah.
Something to keep KX occupied too.
Yep. Having friends for droids is always a good thing.
KX has a snarky laughter about the idea of droids being friends, but cool. That's just, you guys are going to make a lot of credits from this. You will be flush with creds. You can easily pay for the funerals of your Jawa clan brethren. There were no bodies to bury.
Right. I think that, but there were like robes, right?
Yeah.
So at some point we saw the robes.
Very Star Warsy. Yes.
Yeah. But I think that we split this creds up, right? And we send their share back to their families. Yeah.
Cool. So with the remaining time we have in the game, I'd love to jump and just kind of see maybe a few scenes of what it looks like when you guys come back flush with some credits from a pretty harrowing job as a Void rover. So Spaceport Trident Vespa, you guys are moving C4PO, correct? But B1 you're going to hook up in the space crawler.
What do you guys think? That sound good?
Sound like that's what everybody was into. I just want to make sure
Yeah, I don't think we need to keep the chef droid around.
Yeah, the auto chef is kind of it's not a droid. It's like a computer.
Right, but all the protocol droid did was try and get us to eat things, and
I see chef droid. Yeah, enjoy a libation. Yeah, so.
I have a really strange question. Is there any way on the ship to relate back on who created this thing? Like if there's like a signature in the thing or anything like that? Or is it just like the blank corporation?
Oh, I see what you're saying. And yes, you can find out that ship or the corporation that was involved in it. Is it okay if I feed that to you between sessions?
Yeah. That's great. Because I'm just going to say it right now. I'm going to use all of my credits and put a bounty on that person's head.
You bet. Yep. Good news is a lot of that corporation is carked because they were buddy up with the Empire. But yeah, that sounds fun.
Another option, if you wanted it, is you could, we have the vials for a week, right? So you could feed them their own crap.
Ooh,
that's insane.
Not to be mean, but yeah.
Keep a couple droplets and then use that as like the delivery vehicle, a la was it Attack of the Clones when when the bounty hunter sent the insects to kill the Queen?
Oh, it's true. You've got enough credits that if that's a thing you're really like, you know what, I'll drop 3 cred is in like large unit of credits, 3 cred to send this back on those guys. Just the thing is this is it was made to spread, so you definitely want to do the binary.
I think the action of creating that merits disintegration.
But does that make you as bad as them if you use this stuff on them? I don't know.
That's true. Okay. So let's reframe that. I'll just put a bounty like a disintegration bounty on that.
Hashtag not a Sith. Okay.
Hashtag not a Sith. Okay. Cool. So, Ukork, you're flush with credits. What is life like for Ukork on Spaceport Trident Vespa as a Void rover, basically a salvager / scavenger? There are other scav teams here. This is a place that I don't know if you had. It's like 3 paragraphs. It's a lot to ask, but Trident Vespa.
Yeah, no, there's lots of stuff here. I think Ukork for the most part spends his time at the arena. I think Fakbar's the
yeah,
weekday.
she Fakbar is the week.
Yeah, I think Fakbar I think she relies on Ukork for almost like training, right? Because she's got this pool of mercs.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ukork is part of the training regimen that those mercs might have to go through.
He's part of the regimen. Like the mercs have to go through you.
Yeah. There's like a training thing. So I think Ukork is kind of reinvest a little bit into Fakbar's merc unit. Maybe get them some better equipment. Maybe clear up some legal issues that have existed in the past.
Nice.
Try and get on Fakbar's good side, because being on their bad side isn't her bad side is not a good thing to be.
So it's an actual Gundark fighting arena. She raises the Gundarks. You have the feeling, because based on her copious contacts, that probably came from a merc organization at some point. Do you think so? You're trying to get on her good side, or you're trying to stay on her good side?
stay on her good side.
Yeah. So then you've seen Fact Bars at some point probably came up with some reason to have a conversation in her, basically her vault, where she keeps her weapons of weapons and weapons and weapons. She could kit out a merc team easily with what she keeps, but she seems pretty happy with the Gundark fighting arena and just running. She's effectively, like in Shadowrun terms, she's become a Mr. Johnson. Like she's the fixer who will organize, and she really seems to like that. And having you as part of her organization for testing new merc teams is definitely on her good side. So, when Ukor comes in, Fact Bars would be at the arena. Like they've got a central fighting area and then several kind of decks of people who can kind of get around this, and they create it to where it's kind of a pit, so that they can run everything on a lower deck, and then people will be above and kind of looking down, and it's a little domish, so there's some people kind of a la Thunderdome who can like get up on the top parts, but those are the cheap seats, as it were, because you're far away from the action. But when you show up, there's a match going on. Ukork and Fact Bars, she peers out, she keeps a close eye on everything, and she'll see you, and she comes over. She's the kind of person who doesn't send people. She likes to do stuff herself. She'll say, Ukork, Ukork, welcome back. How are you? She kind of peers.
Pretty flush with money now. I wanted to help you out a bit. Bar, I remember there's some latent debts that you owe to I don't know, who does she owe money to?
To a hut, obviously.
To a hut, yes. To a hut, and I think it's mutually beneficial for both of us.
She moves in close and kind of puts her hand, like brings you in tight, but she's shorter than you. Why?
Let's just say that the less the huts poke around in Trident Vespa, the happier both of us will be.
She peers at you close for a bit. Okay, and free drinks. Obviously.
Of course. Have I supposed to have been paying for drinks before? And I'll clap her on the back really hard.
She smiles a little bit. Okay. Yeah.
And I think Ukork is also interested in, because I believe the derelict vessel now, the Ambassador, which we've mostly stripped for parks, did have a laser cannon on it. And I think Ukork probably lacks the skill, but has perhaps also enlisted some of the Jawas, or has hired some Jawas from the spaceport to hide the laser cannon. He doesn't want it to be an obvious thing. But if we get into a tight spot, it would be useful to be armed on the space crawler.
Yeah. Transplanting that laser cannon. They're good at that. They could totally do that. Absolutely. Friend's clan can do that. You just need to make some modifications. Yeah, they'll be super into that. Cool. What about Douche Talk?
So Douche Talks is going to markets. So I spend a lot of my time trading stories, finding hints, trying to answer questions about things, and try to sell goods that we find. So I'm always more interested in the knowledge of the what's hidden and things like that. I will spend probably a lot of time talking about bioweapons and secret weapons. We can talk about the bounty as part of that story if you'd like. So it's more we can have that scene or those scenes actually in relation to trying to find people who would, it's all about information gathering basically.
Hey, I mean, if Douche Talk, if he is talking relatively openly about weird bioweapons and that kind of stuff, pretty soon we'll say that maybe you're at Unwo's or Unmo's. I haven't defined the species or gender for Unmo. I just want to leave that open for whoever wants to say the cantina owner is X or Y. Just do it. It's up there on G2. But Sen Steaded will definitely seek you out. She's the head med tech at the clinic here on Vespa. She works constantly, but she would come to seek you out at the cantina. You haven't seen her at the cantina before. She pretty much is just a clinic, and she's got an apartment that's like a very short walk from the clinic, and that's where she goes. So her coming out to a cantina to talk to you is a little bit of a deal. And she'll say, I have heard interesting stories that your latest, that you're asking questions about. Please, what is that you're involved with, Dushtak?
Well, I think it's really interesting that we found a ship that had a very powerful Imperial super weapon. And trying to know more about it, I know is very dangerous, because even in an after war, a lot of people would try to keep the information hidden. But this is of a nature that I find very disturbing, and I feel that it coming to light is probably more important than the danger that it can bring.
She says, I have heard from long ago. I had heard rumors of Athicum MedTech. They claimed that they had returned to their pacifistic roots during the Civil War, but I always had my suspicions. You have no samples?
Sadly, the samples were destroyed in the process. We didn't feel that we could trust anyone with that kind of material.
Yes, I understand. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Well, this is fascinating. What are you going to do with this information, Durstock?
I don't know yet, but I have an idea that once I have a better know of who was responsible, I think that having them brought to justice is probably the most important thing.
I might be able to help you with that.
Really? I'm listening. I'm very open and listening.
There was a particular researcher involved in Athicam who may have bragged about a particular bioorganic spore-related entity. I'm not sure if they survived the war. I can make some inquiries.
I'd be very thankful for that.
She reaches out, kind of pats your hand. I think you made the right decision. There are limits to scientific discoveries and morality. I appreciate the hard choice you made. I'm sure that you could have made a great deal of credits.
Our galaxy has seen too much destruction for too many generations. Unleashing something like that would doom us forever.
Yes. I have made hard choices in the past myself, and so I appreciate one who thinks ahead. Yes. And then she'll kind of be done with the conversation. She doesn't really want to talk about her hard conversations.
No.
But she will feed you the researchers that she suspects may have been involved in this particular project.
Good. Excellent.
So, Rent, I imagine we like pick up with the clan. What is funerary rites for your particular Jawa clan? What does that look like?
I think normally we space.
Can't hear you.
Oh man,
I can hear you now. That is so weird.
it is weird. Okay, so I think normally we space the remains, right?
Yeah.
But in
Okay.
this case, we don't have it, so
Mhm.
we'll probably just space the robes, and then send off credits. So I think I've got a couple of things that I kind of wanted to deal with. One was, once we get B1 installed, they'd said that they could synthesize a cure. They thought in 3 or 4 weeks,
Mhm.
and I think we want to. I think we want to let them do that. And then I'm going to go to douche talk and say I've got an idea. It wouldn't be right for us to use this on the people who created it. That'd make us as bad as they are. But we might be able to fake them into thinking that we have,
Oh, I'm
and
listening.
get a full confession, which we then put out on the vids along with the cure. So if anyone ever comes across any more of this, because we don't know that this is the last of it,
True.
but if anyone comes across with this, B1 might be able to get us a cure that we can process as well, so everybody knows about it. What do you think about that?
I think that's a very fair analogy. Very
And
fair.
if B1 can't do it, maybe we can escalate this to someone who can.
Okay,
So I think that's the plan.
that's a great plan.
Nice. I think Pak, is that Pak Uisi? Uichi? Ulsi? No, that's not an L, that's an I. Uichi?
Yeah.
How do you say Pak's last name?
Let's
usually?
pretend like it's an L because it's easy to pronounce. Pak Ulsi.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Pak takes a little bit of Thog's robe and like makes it into an armband for their robe.
Nice.
So they can carry it around with them.
And I think that at the very end, I think what we see is the hyperdrive from that ship that you said was better than the one on our ship.
Mhm.
I think that we sell ours and we install this new hyperdrive in there, right? That'll get us places and probably tear the ship apart if we really run it up to full power. And we kind of the 4 of us kind of work on it and get it installed and everything. And then the last thing is you see Rent there, kind of, he's got like the equivalent of a screwdriver, and as he steps back, you see a panel on the side of the hyperdrive that has like their names of the 3 that are missing that are listed on it. Yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think you can easily recruit like Pak and Evad. No, they have some cousins and they'll recruit and they'll fill back in your followers rank with some new green folks that they don't talk about what happened to the last ones. They just chuckle and say, hey, it's our job. Cool. Are there any, feels like we might go a little bit like end a little bit early, but are there any other scenes you guys wanted?
No, that sounds good.
Okay. Then I think next session we'll pick up with the crew on the space crawler headed towards the Renal State Military Academy, also known as the Ryer Medical Academy.
That's really good.
All right, rock on. Cool. So if you guys are cool with it, I'd love to do a quick round of stars and wishes. Does anybody need a bio break before we do that? Good, just roll through. Awesome. So we'll start off with wishes. Wishes are missed opportunities, but also a wish of like, I definitely in second session, because we're 2 sessions, I definitely want X or Y to happen. That's super important. So let's try to front load that. That helps me over the next week as I daydream a little bit about that. So we'll start off with wishes and then we'll end up with stars. Stars are positive feedback for good moments and particularly about specific role play and choices by players. Who would like to go first on wishes? So we'll do a round of wishes, then we'll circle back around to a round of stars. We'll do it in snake order, so whoever's the last to do wishes will be the first to do stars.
I can do wishes.
All right.
Oakwork didn't get to roll anything. Yeah.
I thought about making you roll to pick up the safe, but I'm like, that's fucking lame. It's cartoon
Yeah, no,
lame. So I let it go. But
it's partly on me. I didn't really push Orc into any troubling situations, which I probably should have. And then the other wish would be just, Ukork is built a bit like a combat machine. So I would like to,
you guys
mix it up a little bit.
I agree.
I think that's going to happen.
There were more security droids, but someone was really, really clever and made a roll. So but I hear you. More good. Combat. I want you to be awesome, and I love Ukork, so that is a thing. Absolutely.
That's it for me.
Cool. Blaze or Steven?
I'll go. Why don't you go ahead, Blaze?
Sure. I would, in terms of wishes, the only thing I'd say is, I'd echo Ukork's point of having maybe like a heightened pace in the second game, like maybe a little bit more tension. That's all I have.
All right, Steven.
So in the second session, I think I need to engage more with my skills. I didn't really do that much this time. I have a skill that lets me use someone else's
Jack or Jill of all trades.
Skill, yeah. And I have lucky that lets me avoid a bad outcome once.
I should have suggested that. That would have been.
Actually, that wouldn't have mattered, I don't think, because I think I failed twice, so we were infected twice. So I don't think it would have mattered one way or the other. But I looked back and went, oh, but that kind of feels a little cheaty, but I think I need to push myself to see what that feels like.
Yeah, it's there. You should take advantage of it or choose a different skill. And I'm no problem with using that.
Yeah.
So,
what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, I guess the other wish is, this is only 2 sessions. And after this first session, it's kind of a star. It's like, I kind of want to see in, more than 2 sessions. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those that's like, dang it, why did I do this one not for the whole month? I hear
but it's actually really good. It's always good to leave them wanting more, right?
True. Cool. We'll stick with you for stars. So what stars do you want to hand out?
Yeah, so I think that's kind of my stars, which is, I really liked these characters and I really liked the setup. Playing with you guys and the setup that you gave us, Rich, was just fantastic. Coming in, I felt a lot of tension with this mold and we're all dead. I'm like, oh no. And it was like, and we didn't get off easy either. We killed, a third of the crew, which was great. So it was a really good story. I really liked, the background that you gave the douchebag of, he's kind of doing stories and researching people and that kind of a historian. That's what he gets out of it. I really liked Ukork's, hey, I'm the beefy muscle here. I'm just gonna do this stuff. I liked KX. I mean, I liked all of this stuff. It was great. Yeah.
It's good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Steven. Blaze, what stars did you want to hand out?
So I just want to say I came into this completely blind. I knew I was playing, but I didn't have any time to look this over. And quite frankly, I think that's like the best thing ever. Because like I walked in this morning and I had no idea what kind of character I was going to play. And I love I'm going to be a bit of a little fanboy here, but being able to play with Steve and Greg, that's what I've been looking forward to do more than anything else. It's one of the people because we've played together like once or twice before. So it's like, a lot of fun, right? So that was like my big push. So it didn't really matter what we got to play, but I really liked this game. Like this was a lot of fun. I love the Spore story is one that I was dream of playing, and I finally can like put that on my bucket list. Because it's like it's a good sci-fi throwback of like bad things are happening and there's no good answers out of it. So I thought it was like overall everyone did like an amazing job. I love all the characters and stuff. And like Steve said, like I would play this again in a heartbeat.
Awesome. Greg?
Star to Blaze for why are all the what is the species again? All the starts with a T.
Togruta.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're all Jedi. Why can't I find a non-Jedi? Screw it, I'm a Jedi. That was awesome. I love it.
Hilarious.
And yeah, Steven, I love the picture for our ship that we found. And I'm also very excited that we found the new shiny ship. And we're like, yeah, it's nice, but let's just take it apart because it's too hot. We'll stick to the space crawler. The space crawler, it looks like it could double as a Ferengi ship in Star Trek, like a Ferengi freight hauler too. I don't know. There's something about it. It blurs the line. Yeah, and I did really like the spore thing, and I'm glad that we all immediately went, cool, solved it. We're going to go after the people who made it. We're not going to try and just sell this off to the New Republic, like, cool, whatever. So yeah, I like that.
Cool. Now, I would offer a few stars. First, I would say star to Greg for like holding two, Ukork being not that smart. And I could see the pain in Greg's as a player's eyes of realizing what Ukork's about to do. And you push through, and I admire that. That's hard.
Ukork's not dumb. It's just he doesn't always lead with his head.
Right. I'm not. Yeah. But like I think you, the player, was like, I know where this is going, but you held to the character and said, let's see exactly how bad this gets, and that's hard. That can be really tough sometimes, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I've really enjoyed the world building that you guys did with all of your characters. I'm really interested in bringing things to a close. So let me just check in as we look at the wishes on the table. So we've got what I see. Of course, there's a billion possibilities because of stories. We could elide you guys actually being the ones to go after the research team. Right, because that's not exactly what Void Rovers was pitched to be. We could elide that and say that you've spent some credits to have that happen, and it could potentially be a complication that rolls back on you, and we just continue forward with more salvage type stuff, or we shift the second session to be you guys as a team on the space crawler going to the core worlds and sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. The rules can support either way, but I wanted to like check in before I go too deep down a rabbit hole. What are your thoughts?
Well, if we're going after the corporation, it'd be really cool if we intercept them as a ship, right? So it could be like,
sure, we could do some starship stuff going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be a ship-to-ship thing.
You do have this laser cannon on there now.
And so I was thinking I would rather see more of a salvage mission kind of thing. However, this could be both. I mean, I think we would definitely wait for them to be on a ship to make it enclosed, because we're not going to put this on a planet or a station or anything like that. Yeah.
Not to pre-plan too much, but could we almost do like a reverse thing where we purposefully make ourselves appear derelict to lure in the person of interest that we want to get? I'm not sure. Or do we just say that's how we did it and we move on and we do another picking of the bones? I'm open to anything.
Yeah, I'm open as well. Blaze, do you have a preference about, do we actually want to make a on-screen session of this?
No, sorry, what was your question?
Do you want to make the revenge stuff on screen?
No, it can be completely off screen.
Yeah. So let's actually do that then. Let's do the revenge stuff. We spent some credits. Maybe we actually, and we can do our own headcanon about how we did it, and all that kind of stuff. And then you can, Rich, do you want to come up with a different game for us to go through, a different scenario?
Well, I mean, I had a couple ideas for each session in hat as like two different salvage missions. I just didn't want to like steal you guys like your like autonomy and say, but if you like paying some, because I'll tell you, like as I think through the scenarios, it would be real rough for a group of like scavengers to actually take out a research team, but hiring people with the money you've made seems like the smart call. But still, it can be part of our story. So
So you should. So I'll plus one that and said what you should do is and have like a callback to this in a future Star Wars game where you hire a whole bunch of bounty hunters to go after them.
oh wow, that's pretty great.
Instead of us doing it, we pay it forward for another group potentially to do it in the future. As part of that.
I like that. That's really good.
So you can tell us in the future how it landed.
I like have Blaze come in and guest star as Douche Talk, hiring the bounty hunters at the beginning of a Bounty of the Week scene. Oh, it's so good.
Zot Books is gonna love that.
Oh, Zach. Oh, Zach, I love you so much. Sweet. That's great. Thank you guys for letting me kind of talk that through. I know it was a little bit of pre-plan, but to me, I'm like, it's 2 sessions, so I'd rather make sure we're all on the same page. That's awesome.
And I think diving a second derelict also opens up if the 4th person shows up.
Yep.
Tommy? Yep.
Yep.
If they're able to join us, then they're just, they're a new hire off of the spaceport and they can pitch in.
They're one of the new Java. No, I'm joking. All right, awesome. I'm going to go ahead and stop the live stream here.